Okay, we're at 3 minutes after. We have Pam in with me, and that's it at the moment. But I think we should get started. Don't want to keep her waiting. Welcome. This is our second meeting of the Decriminalize Charleston project, a project of Low Country Normal. For the most part, our meeting tonight is going to be a recap of what's happened over the past week. Oh, we have Jolie joining us at the moment. The past week, on Saturday, we had a little get-together here. We had a little movie watching day of the movie Grass, a documentary about cannabis. Who'da thunk? We actually spent a lot more time just chit-chatting with each other than we did watching the movie. I don't think anybody really watched the movie. So maybe we have an opportunity to play it again sometime. But we did have a lot of good conversation, and a couple of things that came out of it, just at least a big plus for me. I believe we found our first coordinator, our first James Island coordinator for coordinator volunteers. I have not been back in touch with Rebecca for a couple days and don't see her online yet, but I will be reaching out shortly to see how she's progressing. And I've gotten another person voiced interest in being a coordinator, but I haven't gotten together with them yet. So that's in the pipeline. Hopefully in the next couple of days, we'll get together. Probably, I think the biggest news that came out of the Saturday movie was that we had an attendee that's interested in becoming a board member on the Normal board, Low Country Normal. They seem to be really well suited to help the group steer where we need to go. So we're in a spot right now where he's going to be evaluating our current media out there and coming back to us with some recommendations. That should be moving forward by the end of the week. Third thing on the list, as far as reaching out, trying to find volunteers, we earlier today I was at a retail shop down on Folly Beach. It is a vape shop. They sell CBD as well. Folly Beach, for those of you that don't know, is a tiny little area trapped on an island, one road in, one road out. Not a traffic light anywhere down there. So wintertime population, probably around 3,000 people, maybe a little bit more. Summertime population, 22,000. Most of it turns over week by week. So this shop is pretty much down near the center of the area that we would need. Be a great place to have all of our petitions lined up. Because Folly is a destination for all of the Charleston area. She may run into people from Charleston, James Island, and of course Folly Beach. And she'd be willing to keep those there, it sounds like, the entire duration till we collect what we need to collect. Those were the biggest takeaways, I would say, from the Saturday gathering. I did follow that up on Sunday with a little post to our Facebook group, kind of going over some of the next steps that we need to take. Again, encouraging everybody to read the guide that's listed in the files section of the volunteer group, the Decriminalize Charleston SC volunteer group, I believe it is, something like that. Especially read the fundraising section in there, because we've got some expenses that are going to be coming up. Thankfully, doing this with Normal for the couple of years, we do have some of the things. I mean, we've got a couple of 10 by 10 canopy pop-ups if we need them, some tables. We have our Normal banners that'll draw people to us. Challenges finding places that'll allow us to set up. Some of the farmers markets we've dealt with are on school properties, and they don't want us on the property, saying it violates school rules and regulations. And other challenges along those lines. Some of the things we don't have and that we are going to need before we even get the petitions printed are clipboards. Missed out on a real good deal on some secondhand ones on Facebook a day or two ago. But even for the most part, they're $2.25 a piece at Staples for what we would need. But we're also looking to have some big stickers to go on the back of them that have a marijuana leaf, cannabis leaf, and decriminalize imprinted on those. 6x6 stickers. To get 25 of those is going to be roughly $52 plus shipping and handling. If we need more, a batch of 50 is $80 plus shipping and handling. So keep fundraising in mind, everybody. There are things we will need some money for, and the coffers at Low Country Normal are very low. Not exaggerating, very low. We don't have the funds for clipboards or stickers or things like that at the moment, so we're counting on you. Another thing is signs, some sort of signage like little yard signs that we can put out in front of the booth that we're at, or be holding while we're standing on the side of the road saying, come pull over, sign our petition. So signage is one of the other things that we need. And those are the big three. The big five, if you want to put that way: board members, coordinators, clipboards, stickers, and signage. Sign up volunteers, those will come as we get our coordinators. That's the only reason they're not on our list, though they will be critically important in the near future. But those are the big five. Board members for a normal group to help me steer this thing, take some of the burden off my shoulders, please. Coordinators to help me with the Decriminalize project all around. And I made up a list. We have about 8. Do I have it visible here? No, it is posted on that post I mentioned on the Facebook page. It's like 2 in Daniel Island, 2 in West Ashley, 1 on Johns Island, 2 would be James Island, and 1 on Folly. I think that pretty much covers. Oh, and 1 or 2 down on the Peninsula. Mentioning the Peninsula, we also have the Students for Sensible Drug Policy at the College of Charleston. Interested in working with us on this. They will be great running up and down King Street collecting signatures from everybody. That is something that we won't have any problem with. That they run up and down the streets with petitions and things all the time. One of the courses I recently took at this college over there, even the instructor says they'll be allowed to do it a lot more than you and I. You and I might get kicked off as King Street and told, wander off. But the students, they'll have their student ID badges on, and that's usually a win-win for everybody. I'm not really going to go and read everything else that was on our next steps list that I put out online. I do encourage you to go out and read that. That is, again, in the Decriminalize Charleston Facebook group. The last thing I really had in there that I do want to bring up again tonight is I had volunteers asking me, when are we going to have petitions ready? When are we going to have petitions ready? And I thank you for your enthusiasm, and I encourage you to keep that enthusiasm up. And I promise you that we will have petitions in time. As soon as we have all of our clipboards and our coordinators in place and our signage ready, we will have all of our petitions ready to go as well. That's most of what I have. What kind of input do we have from you all tonight?
Hey, Scott, this is Chad here. I just wanted to touch bases with you. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can, Chad.
Awesome. Hey, I just wanted to touch bases with you. I was actually going to bring this up, and you segued it really nicely for me. So I will be in a position to get those petitions to you by next week's call. So so I just wanted to give you a heads up. If you can, I know, Charleston, if you can also just send me an email with those other areas that you want it done, I can have those all done for you by next week's call.
Okay, I'll get that emailed out to you when we're done with the meeting.
Awesome, sounds great. Jolie, did you have any ideas for fundraising? I'll tell you what we did, Scott. The first petition that we did in Toledo, we also kind of leaned on a normal chapter, and a lot of the members participated. What we did is we had a very low number as well in our bank account. Is we basically got all the members to donate items that they were kind of holding to do garage sales. And we had a big rummage sale. And I think the first rummage sale, we raised about $1,000 in a weekend. So if you have anybody that would be willing to donate items, clothes that they were, going to donate or have a garage sale themselves, it may be beneficial to you if you can get some help to have a yard sale or a big rummage sale. If you could find a local supportive business with a parking lot that you could pull that off.
Yeah, we did. We did sell some merchandise when we did on-location petitioning events. So if we would set up in a parking lot, quite often we had good success with that when the weather's nice. If you can find a parking lot that will work for that and get signs out there on the sidewalk to draw traffic in off the street. We did have a couple places where we had the ability to set up a pop-up or just had a place where we could put out some merchandise and sold some merchandise right there at our petitioning event. And it worked out very well. So it's going to really depend much on your location and what your weather is like.
Well, we are in beautiful Charleston, just right by the ocean, beautiful weather most of the time, as long as the hurricanes aren't coming. Winter's kind of through for us. That's about 2 weeks in January. So we're sort of early spring already. We've been walking barefoot on the beach all week this week.
It sounds wonderful. We are actually currently looking for accommodations to come down and help give Myrtle Beach a good push for their start.
Right. Well, that's Myrtle Beach is a good tourist destination as well. We've got a couple different beach destinations here. Folly Beach is the one closest to me. They kind of call that the where all the Jimmy Buffett fans kind of hang out. A matter of fact, Jimmy Buffett was here surfing just this past summer. He shows up every now and again.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it is. There's some interesting and famous people around the Charleston area. Not that I've seen, but I hear about them and see it online.
We also just got word today that the Salem, West Virginia initiative will be on the ballot.
Oh, wonderful. Now, my question for you is, what is generally the time frame for a city the size of Charleston? We're probably talking collecting 25,000 signatures. Is that something we'd have done by the end of June, by the end of April? We have a 420 event coming up in April. So I'm just kind of curious, what's your experience there in Ohio with some different sized cities? Is this a lot of week, a couple of weeks thing, a multiple months thing? Are we like half a year thing?
It's very much going to depend on how it's organized and your crew of people. We've seen smaller cities that have taken months that should have never taken that long due to poor organization and the necessity of having to go back and get more signatures and then more signatures again. And then we've seen big cities like Cleveland. They did a 2-week push last year for signatures, and they still fell short, but barely short. I mean, barely. Oh, my God. They did a 2-week push. How many signatures did they get, Chad? Do you remember? I don't know if we have Priscilla on the call right now. I don't know. It was thousands of signatures in 2 weeks. So it can be done that way. It would take multiple crews in multiple locations, both at events, like if you have big events, and like separately on streets. That's not counting any door-to-door. That's literally only counting the events, like I said, where we would set up on the sidewalk with our signs and draw the cars into a parking lot. And if you do it that way, people don't even have to get out of their car. We call it a drive-through petitioning event.
Nice. Okay.
And it's much faster. It's very fast-paced, so you have to be ready for it.
Good heads up. Good heads up. Appreciate that. All right. Anybody else have any questions, input tonight? I appreciate the news, Chad, about, I'll be looking forward late next week or early, after the weekend, just before the next meeting or thereabouts. For those petitions, like I say, as soon as we're done this evening, I will email you the names of the other 2 towns that we really want to target. And we'll kind of just go from there. Otherwise, we'll see you all back here next Tuesday, 8 p.m. sharp. Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Sounds good. When I get the dates finalized, you too.
Okay, thank you. I'll hear from you when they get the dates.